So fantasy status here, bringing back part 3 of our mock draft, second round. I'm here with Lukas. Anything you have to say?
Ready to take on the hardest part of the mock draft. This will be, I think, the most. This will probably have more info and more breakdown to it than I think part 1 and 2 will. But it'll be tough to, I think, get to those picks. But let's hop right into it. I think we kind of pre-planned this one a bit just because we didn't want to have super differing views. So I guess I'll just Lloyd Cushenberry is going to be our pick. You can kind of break down why you think it would be.
I mean, LSU boy, protected Burrow in college. I mean, he's a good interior lineman. Bengals need interior line. I mean, there's not much else to it. Again, I think the second round here, we should kind of be more swift, concise with our breakdown simply because we don't want to lose the audience here. Either way, Cushenberry, good player, need interior line, seamless fit. So
I agree.
Colts here. I mean,
yeah. So they traded pick 13, obviously, to get D end or D tackle,
DeForest Buckner.
DeForest Buckner. I think this is going to be a receiver here.
I like it.
I don't want to say I think I know who it's going to be because I have no clue what their board looks like. To me, I think it would be Rager at this pick. It's tough because I could easily see a Chenault or a Higgins, but I think to be sort of on the safe, sort of in the average safe side, middle, if we are the GM, I think Rager would be the pick just because he would complement TY nicely with Paris Campbell. But if they do believe in Chenault, I think that was what ultimately Chris Ballard would do. But we'll be safe here. I think Rager's who I would lock in here.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, Rager provides Rivers. Sorry, I completely blank. Provides Rivers with another weapon outside of TY. I mean, they got Paris Campbell last year. Hope he develops into something, but it's not a sure thing. Get him another receiver, Rager. I like it. So, Lions here. I mean, I'm looking at a player. They compare opposite of Trey Flowers, who's basically Trey Flowers 2.0, in AJ Epineza here.
Mm-hmm.
I just think it'd be a great fit. I mean, you get another similar player, can learn under Trey Flowers. Power, like he's got the most powerful hands I've seen in this entire class. Patricia runs a similar scheme to obviously what they were in New England, considering he was the defensive coordinator in New England. And again, New England just gets guys who come to work, maybe not the greatest athletes, but are just know how to play the positions. I mean, it's been evident over the years. It works for them over the years. Epineza fits that profile to a T. I don't know. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I agree. I think they would have to take best available here, not let him slide down. And we've mentioned how Epinesa could maybe slide into that inside D line role here and there. And they do also need inside D line. So I think this would be a perfect pick to pair with Flowers on the opposite side.
Yeah, I like it. Let's do it. Giants here. I mean, this is a weird board for them specifically because I mean, they would have wanted to see one of those edge rushers make it to them. Like if Zach Bond was here, that'd be a great fit. One of those corners made it here, it'd be a good fit. But guy I'm looking at here specifically, I mentioned him in a couple like the past 2 episodes. For me here, it'd be Antoine Winfield, simply because you got Jabril Peppers, who's kind of a hybrid safety as well. Winfield is just a better pure. I view him as more of a box guy who has a bit of range. Sorry, you can. I view him as a box guy who still has a bit of range. So being able to pair him with Peppers, you solidify your safety core. And to me, like Winfield's just such a talented player. Like he's so good in his run fits. It's ridiculous. I want to hear your thoughts on this, but
yeah, I think if they were not to get James Bradbury in free agency, I think this would be
corner.
A guy like Trayvon Diggs, AJ Terrell, something like that. However, I think they know that Bradbury's going to be the one. He's a good lockdown corner. They have a couple guys that can work into the 2-3, where maybe they can draft another one later that I think will be fine. Yeah, I think Winfield is the pick here unless they really think they need to go receiver for whatever the reason may be. I don't think that's what they're looking at now. However, I'm not going to put that past them, but I think it'd be Winfield to pair with Peppers. Kind of sneaky elite secondary if they can maybe find a cornerback too in the near future. But I think Winfield's a great pick here.
Yeah, or if DeAndre Baker shows more flashes than he did last year, it could really pay off for them. Again, if there was a linebacker worth taking, we'd be taking him, but simply isn't. Even though they signed Blake Martinez, they still have plenty of work to do in that linebacking core. But yeah, I agree. Winfield's the pick here. So Chargers here. I mean, again, we mentioned They took tackle day one. They took Jedrick Wills, I believe, or was it Tristan Wirfs? Let me just
I don't even
Tristan Wirfs.
so
Tristan Wirfs.
worse. Yep.
Again, we mentioned simply because we thought they would take a quarterback on day two. I'm looking at the board here. What quarterbacks are available? I mean, are you comfortable saying that they would probably take a quarterback around this spot?
This is where it's tough because I think they're not going to come out of this draft with just Tyrod Taylor. I will say that. But when I look at the board that we have, I do see a guy like DeAndre Swift and Jonathan Taylor. And I know they just pit Eckler, but Eckler is not the workhorse back. And it's tough here because I think this could go a lot of ways. They could easily go with Trayvon Diggs, but they just got Chris Harris. So I don't really know
Yeah.
their thoughts on that. I think it has
Oh,
to
their
be QB.
secondary is so set. They got
Yeah,
Desmond King. They got Casey Hayward. They just signed Chris Harris, and then they have two of the best young up and coming safeties. I mean, I was a really big Nasir Hadley fan last year. He missed a bit of the season,
yeah,
but I still
he's
think
a
he's
beast.
plenty talented. And Derwin James, again, another guy who missed the last season, but he's arguably a top three safety in this entire league. Just phenomenal player. But
Yeah,
um, I don't know about the running back simply because we saw so much about of Eckler, and in spurts last year, I saw good potential from Justin Jackson to warrant like adding a third running back with significant draft capital here. Um, Again, for me, I'm a huge Jalen Hurts fan here, and just having him to learn and develop behind Tyrod, maybe it's considered a reach because he's more viewed as a late two, early three type of player. But to me, again, he's my QB5 overall. I think he's got plenty of potential. He could step in, learn the ropes from Tyrod next year, learn, develop under him, and then in his second year can really develop into starter. I mean, my comp for him is Dak Prescott simply because, again, similar to Dak, struggled a little bit mechanically coming out of college, a little bit inconsistent, but definitely has the traits to really excel and turn into a player like Dak. And you know how high I am in Dak if you see me on Twitter. I mean, these clowns on Twitter try to argue him with me, just ridiculous.
yeah,
But yeah, I'm a huge Hurts fan. I think it would be a great pick here, but I want to know your thoughts.
yeah. I would take Hurts over Eason in this point of the draft, and we can. I think we should do that. I just don't want to put past anybody if they do go with the Jonathan Taylor guy, especially for fantasy drafts that freak out or
Oh,
something. And
that'd be incredible.
but yeah, I just don't want to put it past them that if this is the case, like I don't think they would be hesitant to pull the trigger. But I think Hurts is a great pick. Hurts is going to go early day two. I don't think it's a reach at all.
I agree. Slot them in, and now we got the Panthers back on the board. So I'll just give an overlook over the whole board. To me, there's one name that's specifically standing out, and I mean, I think you could probably pick who I'm thinking of, but I just want to know your thoughts.
I mean, is it if it's going to be Neville Gallimore? I think that's who I would lock
Yeah,
down here. He does have some risk attached with him, but I think the Panthers have had a good hit rate in terms of drafting defensive players to where if they like him, I think they're going to go ahead and take him. We took Isaiah Simmons to start here. Like we said, they're in a sort of rebuild mode. I think adding another youth guy that could easily be a franchise player would be the move here. I don't think any corners stick out. I don't think any inside linemen stick out. I don't think a receiver is even in the possibility of what they're going to take because that team barely runs through one receiver. Now people are trying to say they need a third. I think it's got to be Neville Gallimore at this pick.
yeah, I agree with that. I mean, Neville Gallimore is a freakish athlete inside. I mean, this guy's running. I know the combine's not much, but he's running 4.7 at 300 plus pounds.
Yeah.
Just absurd. I mean, you saw it all over Oklahoma tape. He flashed in spurts, but I don't know what the heck kind of scheme they were running at Oklahoma, but some of the stuff that they were making him do just looked completely unnatural. Again, if I'm getting a guy like Neville Gallimore, throw him in the three tech, let him use his natural gifts. I mean, he's another guy like Kinlaw who's got all the traits to end up being potentially a top five defensive tackle in the entire league. I mean, he's
Mhm.
clearly not as developed as Kinlaw or Brown at this point, but talent wise, man, like he's easily a top 40 player in this class for me. So I like the fit here. I mean, fills a need. Bring in a guy like that, interior pass rusher. I mean, I like it. So let's lock it in. Dolphins here.
I I think it's got to be their best running back or the highest running back on their board, which I think is going to be DeAndre Swift.
I agree.
Not saying Jonathan Taylor's bad, but they took Jordan Howard, so they're not going to have 2 3 down workhorse backs. I think they'll go Swift. Sort of bring him in. In honesty, it'd be a good pairing because they both kind of learn from each other. Howard would learn more of the pass catching if that's even possible with Jordan Howard, and Swift would learn more of the
Yeah,
how to be a power back
yeah, between
from
the
Jordan
tackles,
Howard.
runner. I
Yeah,
mean,
so I think
you can kind of look at it too. When the Saints brought in Alvin Kamara, they had the Mark Ingram rule figured out. They brought in Kamara. I mean, DeAndre Swift is a similar player to me in terms of Kamara is a good comparison. Uh, what are your thoughts on that, Kamara Swift?
it's a reasonable comp. I don't want to like people. A lot of people do that. I don't want to like he
That's
is
definitely
the
fair.
next. Yeah,
I just see an elusive player, good hands, uh, good vision. I mean, his dead leg is one of the best things that you'll see in this whole
yeah,
class. I mean,
and I think at this pick, I think this will be a running back, no matter who it's going to be. I think it'll be one of the top three guys because they could easily take Taylor and still roll out Jordan Howard. Like it's a Jordan Howard's what maybe 2 year deal, maybe
yeah,
even just 1 year. I don't even remember what the deal is. Yeah, I think it's got to be Swift here.
I agree. I mean, also too, again, I mentioned the Ingram to Kamara phase. You could also look at it how Howard was used just last year in developing Miles Sanders. I mean, you use him as a tandem back,
Hmm.
signed for what 2 years?
I think it
Howard,
was two. I don't remember really for
either it
sure.
was 1 or 2 years. It's a short term deal. I mean, have that pairing, take some load off of Swift. I mean, I think it's a no brainer. Natural player. Um, Texans. Now, this is the pick they acquired in the DeAndre Hopkins for David Johnson second round pick. Let me not even get into that.
Yeah.
Uh,
So if they believe in Laviska Shenault, I think this is the pick. Lock it in. But I think it's got to be Higgins as of now. They need a receiver. They obviously need a lot more than a receiver, but they have to fill that void because they did not make it. They signed Randall Cobb to
they signed him to
three.
wide receiver like 1-2 money. They signed him for 9 to 10 million a
It's
year, and I was
so
baffled.
bad. And they already have a slot receiver in Kiki Kute, but
Yeah.
that's a whole different
I didn't
conversation.
understand that move at all, but I agree. I mean, Chenault would be a good fit here. Uh, again, yeah,
I just,
they need to fill that hole.
yeah, I think it's got to be Higgins. I think they know that they can get. I don't even know. Want to throw out numbers. I know that I think they can see the 1,000 yard receiver in Higgins. I don't know right away, maybe right away,
I mean,
but I think eventually he'll just be that always there cornerstone receiver. I think it's got to be Higgins, and I don't think they would let Higgins fall this far in the draft because this is kind of a fall for Higgins.
I'm not a big fan of him personally,
Yeah,
but I can see it as being a fall. Again, in terms of fit, I mean, you're not going to go Hamler simply because you have Will Fuller on the roster.
mhm,
Chenault's more of like, I don't want to call him a gadget guy, but he's more of like a guy you want to be creative with. And do you really trust Bill O'Brien to be creative with any sort of piece
not
on
a
his
chance.
offense?
Not a chance.
So yeah, T. Higgins, I mean, didn't test the way you wanted to, but again, broke out freshman year, Clemson, a 5-star recruit who just showed his talent over college career. I mean, 6'4", 200 plus pounds, great in the air. I mean, he's a good fit here. I mean, then again, this is what we think is going to happen. So all we know, freaking Bob takes a
Yeah,
punter here. So,
yeah. Who knows? But
uh,
I think Higgins with this slide kind of mini DeAndre Hopkins, I guess you could say.
yeah, I can agree with that. Slide him in there. Now, this this is good. This might sound as a shock to you, but I think there's one clear player on the board who's not even like listed here that I think would be a perfect fit here for the Browns. Can you
Oh gosh.
plays on defense?
I feel like I might be missing it. I don't know.
I'm looking at Ashton Davis. He's still on the board. I
Yeah.
mean,
Do you think they would reach this high though?
it's not a reach for me. I mean, he's a mid-second round player in my opinion, and
He is rising a bit.
he's
Yeah.
a natural playmaker for me. Let's just pull him up. I mean,
56.
yeah, he's
Yeah.
listed 56 here. Take him a 41. I mean, he's a natural playmaker here. He's the best. He's the second best pure ball hawk in this class behind Delpit. Again, the defense, the Cleveland's defense, while talented in some areas, clearly lacks in other areas. And last year, like they just had absolutely no safeties. Like I think Morgan Burnett was getting minutes for them at some points last year, which is just
Mhm.
insane. But yeah, for me here, I mean, I like Ashton Davis a ton as a player. I think he brings a lot of versatility for them. I think it would be the pick, but I mean, what do you think about it?
Yeah. I mean, I think it's a solid pick. I just didn't really know if that would be too high in a sense. But I think if Winfield's gone, I think they should just go ahead and take the need here for the player that Ashton Davis could be, which is he has all the potential to be Antoine Winfield. You just maybe don't see it yet. I think it'd be a good fill of a need fill. And just kind of see how it plays out because I don't think there's much else on the board right now that would pop out to them too much.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, we could just slide him in here. Now we're on again to the Jaguars, who filled in with Derek Brown and Jeff Gladney in the first round. So we'll see what they do here.
Yeah, to me, I think this is going to be Terrell Lewis if the option is presented here. Yannick Ngakwe will be gone by today, tomorrow, whenever this comes out. He will not be there. It's just he'll be gone. They've already said that he's not going to be there at all, and they're going to trade him to a contender to get some picks to rebuild. I think it'd be Terrell Lewis here. I could
I,
possibly see a receiver. I'm still floating around with the receiver sort of opportunity. I can't really tell how I feel about it yet because they do have a lot of money invested. But I could definitely see a guy like Hamler to complement with Chark and D.D. Westbrook. But I think they would go Terrell Lewis, who can easily be a like second defensive identity or a second
yeah.
or third like best, if you could say that. But I think it's a safe
I
pick
feel
here.
you. I mean, the thing with Toro Lewis, I'm a little bit lower on him than consensus, but at the same time, I still acknowledge that he has all the traits to be a really good edge rusher in the league. He just didn't show enough consistency for me at Alabama. But I mean, if I'm looking at it from an NFL front office point of view, he's got the traits, he's got the size, he's got the length. I mean, it's your second round pick again. You're just looking for guys who have high upside. He could have a ton of upside here for the Jaguars. So I like the pick. I mean, I personally, I view a guy like Curtis Weaver, Julian Aquara as a better overall talent. But in terms of the NFL front office point of view, again, Terrell Lewis would be the pick here. So I don't mind it at all. This is an interesting spot. I mean, Chicago's first pick, obviously, their first round pick was involved in the Khalil Mack trade. Um, to me here, I mean, there's a glaring hole for me, and it's the interior of their offensive line. I mean, we could pull up the positions right now. I mean, you're still looking at guys like Jonah Jackson, Matt Hennessy, Robert Hunt, Natani Muti, who I'm not a huge fan of, but again, like NFL teams might be a lot higher on him than I would be. Uh, but yeah, to me here, I would take personally, I like Hennessy and Hunt as my next two interior offensive linemen. But I just want to hear your thoughts on this.
Yeah, I do think they're going to come away with one of those guys you mentioned, but I do think at this point they do pick in 7 picks to where I think they would pivot as of now and then get one at pick 50. This might kind of come as a shock a bit. I do think KJ Hamler is on the board here for this pick.
Yep.
It doesn't seem as a glaring need right away, but they lost Taylor Gabriel. They have the guys in Anthony Miller and Allen Robinson good to go. But I think Hamler is kind of, I mean, think about it. Matt Nagy had Tyreek Hill. He's kind of like that possibility of what this offense could use. And this team needs it. They showed it last year. Something happened last year to where I don't even know what it was. It just didn't work. They got Jimmy Graham to fill that, I
Oh
guess,
God.
tight end role with Trey
Eight
Burton.
million a year.
But the thing is, if it works out, it's going to be one of the greatest moves. If this is what fixes the offense, just to have another guy out there, like,
Can't
sure.
block for
I don't,
shit though. He can't
yeah,
block for crap. I don't know. I don't know what that is, but I agree with the receiver point. The thing is that I feel Miller and Hamler are kind of similar players in the sense that they're smaller receivers with great speed. I think if they go receiver here, it would be for a guy like Chenault because they can use him in a wide variety of ways in that offense. Get him the ball out of the backfield. You can let him run some gadget routes. I mean, he could be your Debo Samuel. I know that's corny to say, but yeah, he's just a more physical
yeah.
option to pair next to Allen Robinson on the outside and Anthony Miller, your speed guy. So if I'm going receiver here, I'd personally take Chenault, but I mean, what do you think?
Yeah, I don't know. It's tough to me because I think they have Cohen. Miller, he's pretty, I thought he was pretty big from what I remember. I don't even remember his actual size.
Hamler? He is. I without checking, I'm gonna guess 5'11", 175.
Oh, Anthony Miller, I'm pulling up his
Oh,
size.
he's
Yeah,
five
he's
nine, one seventy
5'11.
five. Yeah, so he's even
Yeah,
shorter.
I
Yeah,
don't, and then Anthony Miller's 5'11", 201.
yeah.
And Miller plays the slot, but they're just missing that downfield topper that I think Nagy had with Tyreek Hill that Taylor Gabriel kind of did. That's just kind of why I lean Hamler. And Nagy, I don't think is in any point of place right now to take a chance on an injured receiver. This is kind of like
I
where
mean,
I stand because I don't want to say he's on the short leash, but like, what has he really shown? And he needs to do something to change it. That's just kind of why I lean. I think Hamler moves the needle for a team right away just because it adds that Will Fuller aspect to a team. I guess this is kind of my thought on it.
I could definitely see it. I mean, adding another burner to an offense is never a bad move. I mean, look at KC just last year; they added McCole Hardman even after having Tyreek Hill. So I mean, Hamler here again, fast receiver, uh, uh, just electric. I mean, again, Tyreek Hill role. fit him in an Aggie offense. He could really take the top off of defense to support the other weapons they have on that offense. So I could definitely see it. I mean, if you want to go handler here, I could definitely plug it in right here.
Let's do it.
All right. So we're back on the Colts, who we gave him. What do
We gave him
Give him Rager. That's
Rager.
great fit. Yep. Okay. Just
So
wanted to
this
check
is interesting because
this interior line for me.
I agree. I just don't know who to pick because I know Ballard has his own board.
Is this
That might
interior
be.
offensive or defensive line though? Is the question.
I
I
know that's where
it could be either or. Like I'm looking like I can look at a guy like Ross Blacklock here as being an incredible talent that's still on the board. Ross Blacklock. I mean, I'm a big Justin Madubuike fan. There are a couple guys, but then again, you could also get a guard to pair inside with Quentin Nelson, like a Robert Hunt or Matt Hennessy. But I'd like to hear you elaborate on what you would take on
yeah. There's
this.
a couple spots. Well, as of today, they just released Pierre Desir, so I could
Corner could
definitely
be
see a
two.
corner
Yeah.
pick. I could easily see another wide receiver pick. T.Y. Hilton is older. I could see a Chanel here, take a chance on him. I don't know. If I had to pick an inside O line guy, I feel like Robert Hunt fits kind of the way that offensive line just kind of feels to me.
Yeah, I feel you.
But if you do, I think there was one guy at the bottom of the screen, and Raekwon Davis. That just seems like a guy that Ballard would draft. People would freak out, and then he ended up being a stud. So I don't know. I think inside O line, I think I would sit on Robert Hunt at this pick. Make Rivers happy and give him a really good O line and be like, here you go. Like we got you in O line. Like show us why we signed you to this deal. And this team is in a win now mode. They do need corner help a little bit, but like I said, with the Vikings, that isn't necessarily like the biggest indicator in playoff success. You can kind of figure it out as it comes. I think it's going to be Robert Hunt at this pick.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, again, I mentioned before for literally the previous pick that I'm a huge Robert Hunt fan as well. He just fits in here. Protect Rivers. I mean, he's clearly not the most mobile guy. I mean, we both know that.
Mm-hmm.
Getting a guy like Robert Hunt really solidifies that offensive line to one of the best units in the league to already even a better unit. Again, the Colts roster in general lacks many holes, like period. I mean, again, you did mention corner. I could definitely see a guy like Trayvon Diggs, Noah Igbenonane, or whatever the heck.
I
How
don't
do
know
you
how to say
pronounce
his
that?
name.
But we'll just call him Noah I.
There we go.
But yeah, no, I could definitely see an interior lineman here as well because give Rivers the weapons. That offense can definitely explode for next year. So I definitely like the pick. Robert Hunt. I mean, Buccaneers back on the clock. Bush's team. To me, this is a no-brainer here. It's got to be offensive tackle. You got to protect Brady.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm looking at the tackles on the board. You got Ezra Cleveland, who I'm a fan of, and really the one I'm looking at is a little bit lower on the board. But my favorite out of this bunch is Matthew Pert. Like
Yeah, I don't really have like a separator between Pert, Jackson, Cleveland, even Isaiah Wilson, who showed spurts in his college career. You even go down to a guy like Trey Adams, who's just monstrous. He could
yeah.
even there's just a ton of guys.
Ben Barch. I like Ben Barch. He's a real
Yeah.
sleeper in this
So
class.
I think it'll be kind of Brady's pick in a sense of who he wants to protect him. I do like that Pert pick though. Like again, like I said, that like undervalued offensive lineman just fits the Patriots. Obviously, he's on the Patriots, but just kind of fits what Brady's played with in his whole career. So I do like that pick here for sure.
Personally, extremely underrated player, and the fact that he's even ranked at 77 is pretty crazy to me because I like when I evaluate him, I view him as more of a mid-second to late second type of player. Definitely in that tier 2 of offensive tackle again with the likes of Ezra Cleveland, Lucas Niang, who was already taken, Austin Jackson. So personally here, my personal favorite would be Matthew Pert. So I like the pick here for them. Your team back on the clock. So let me know what you're thinking here.
I think it's going to go right back to O tackle for this one. We got Melvin Gordon. We replaced we got McGovern to replace whoever left. I can't think of his name now.
Was it
we got
Ronald Leary? Was it Ronald Leary? Was it Ronald Leary?
Maybe. I don't know.
No, McGovern left. He went to New York.
McGovern left. We got oh God, I should know this. I literally talked about it like an hour ago. I don't remember. They got a guard, Glasgow.
Oh, Graham Glasgow out of Detroit. Yeah.
Yeah, so he'll just slide into McGovern's spot. I think it's got to go back to O tackle here. A lot of corners on the board. I think we'll figure it out eventually. Bouye slides back in. We got Devontae Bosby back. I think we'd figure that out in a later pick. Personally, I think it'd be Ezra Cleveland here,
I like it.
or Ezra.
I mean, you got to protect Drew Lock. He's your franchise. I mean, he showed a lot of flashes last year. Give him extra protection. I mean, we can both say that Garrett Bowles has not lived up to his
He's got
expectations.
to go.
Uh,
He's so bad.
yeah. I mean,
It's
you draft. He had a bunch of red flags coming out. I mean, he was 25 coming out of the draft, and really, my opinion, wasn't even a great prospect to begin with. The fact there were some people that were saying he was better than Ryan Ramczyk in that class, and I was just baffled. But yeah, no, Ezra Cleveland, slide him in, protect Drew Lock. I mean, great franchise move for them. So let's just get him in there.
I agree.
Now, Falcons on the clock. I mean, they took CJ Henderson in the first round, and yet they have their pick of the litter in terms of interior defensive lineman left, which I think would be the pick.
Yeah, I agree. And to me, Blacklock seems like it's kind of a set in stone pick here.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't want to put it out a possibility that Raekwon Davis might go here, just because I think that some team's going to buy into him. I don't think it's the Falcons because, yet again, another coach on the hot seat, very much so, needs to do something this year. They got Todd Gurley. They went out and took a firmer first round pick and got a cheaper tight end and got Hayden Hurst for a second round pick. So they made a great move there. I think they will. They got their corner, CJ Henderson. I think they will take Blacklock in this pick, but best available inside D lineman. And then I think they will address a little more O line help just because that team always seems to get hurt for
Yeah.
whatever reason.
I mean,
But I think Blacklock,
Lindstrom and McGarry last year were first round picks, and they still have an offensive line need, which is just absurd to think about that you spend 2 first round line picks and the other positions are just completely
yeah,
left open. But yeah, I mean, Blacklock just seems like a nice guy. Pair him inside, with Grady Jarrett. I mean, that's a formidable interior pass rush. Recently signed Dante Fowler to play your edge. I mean,
mm-hmm.
you got a good thing going on defense with Atlanta. So I like the Blacklock pick a lot. So now we're back on the Jets who don't have a tackle. Wow. Okay, so we know where we're
It's
going.
if this is the case, it's Austin Jackson. No way they let him go. He's shown enough potential here and there. He's been up and down, but I think it's you got to take it in. He
Yeah,
won't fall this
I
far.
completely agree. I mean, like if Austin Jackson is there, they're taking him flat out. But let's segue into the next pick. I'm looking at the
Jonathan
Steelers
Taylor.
here. Yeah, I was just about to say that.
It's
Again,
I've
I'm not.
been
Sorry, go ahead.
I've been wanting this to happen since the whole Jonathan Taylor like uprising started, and I'm actually surprised he kind of not surprised he fell this far, but like
It's a
I
weird
think
fall.
if he is there, it has to be him. If James Conner can put up the numbers he did, I can't even wait to see what Jonathan Taylor's gonna do in this
Like
behind this O line.
Jonathan Taylor is a freak athlete, as Animal will say,
Yeah.
and James Conner is just there's no elite aspect to his game, and he was producing behind that Pittsburgh offensive line next to Ben. Just imagine what Jonathan Taylor would do in that offense. It'd be
Mm.
ridiculous. I mean, again, I was gonna say it before you even said it. I think that's a clear pick here. No brainer, great value, great player. I mean, slide him in here. And we were talking about this earlier at 43. I mean, you go best interior offensive lineman available. You got to protect your new quarterback in BDN.
Yeah, I agree. I think you have to go back. Like I said, I don't know who they. I think I would lean Jonah Jackson just because I think he's gotten better grades. Like we said, Nagy needs to make moves that are going to move the needle. I know I say that a lot, but moves that are going to help right away. I could see Hennessy here, but I think Jonah Jackson is who they would take here.
Yeah, I definitely agree here. I mean, it comes down to Jackson or Hennessy. I mean, they're neck and neck for me. They're similar tier players. Comes down to preference. If you're saying Jonah Jackson, I'm fully on board with that. So let's slide him in here. Now, my team back on the clock. Now, let's just check the board just to kind of see what's going on. Now, we went Fulton in round 1, if I recall. And I'm looking
Yep.
at the board, and there's really 2 positions I'm kind of looking at. I'm looking at interior defensive line, and I'm looking at a double down at corner. I mean, I think we're going to have to take 2 corners in the first 4 rounds regardless. If I'm looking at the board and a guy like Noah is available for me, I mean, Noah as we'd like to call him now,
Yeah.
I think that'd be a great fit. I mean, he's got all the potential to develop as an outside corner. You got your slot guys. You got Anthony Brown. You got Jordan Lewis. Brought back, I mean, Cheeto Wuzie too, but Cheeto Wuzie is not signed past next year. So, I mean, you're going to have to address the position again, especially after losing Byron. Noah has all the traits to really strive as a next level corner. I mean, comes down to him, it comes down to Trayvon Diggs, and it comes down to Justin Madubuike for me. But again, I'm a big Noah I fan. I feel like he's again a mid-second round type of talent, and getting him here at 51 would be my pick. But I want to hear what you have to say about him.
Yeah, I was going to go double down on corner. I'm not really for sure who I prefer over the two, but I think I think if you think like Noah I better as a next level corner, I think it's a solid pick.
The way I look at it is Noah's a little rawer, like if that's the term. He's more
Yeah.
raw than Trayvon Diggs, but I feel like he's got better man-to-man potential, like going like for the future for his NFL career. He was part of a super talented Auburn defense this year. I mean, he was a lockdown corner. He's shown plenty of improvement over his college career. Better man to man skills than Trayvon Diggs, who can sometimes get lost man to man due to his poor athletic traits. Whereas Trayvon Diggs is just an animal. He's a smart corner, great zone guy. But for me here, especially bringing in Mike Nolan as the defensive coordinator, I want a guy who's going to be more physical man to man. I'm taking Noah. So I wonder your thoughts.
Yeah, I can go for it. Whoever you think is better.
Okay. Now, to me here, Rams, we've sped this up, or not sped this up, but we've talked this up a lot. But this second round is going to be the round for interior offensive linemen, in my opinion. And if I'm the Rams, there's just no way I'm not taking one here.
Mm-hmm.
But I want to know your thoughts here.
If Dobbins is there, I I don't know how they're going to approach it because I don't want them to overreact and jump the gun on a player they don't necessarily need. I'm a firm believer that you have to build. I've said it a million times. You got to build around the team. You got to build the team up before you insert a workhorse, before you insert a league-winning rusher, which they did for 1 year, and then they let that fall apart. And obviously, we saw it happen. He just got cut. I think it's got to be Matt Hennessy. You got to start with this offense. You just got to keep building, and it's a franchise, man. The time will come where you can just get that one rusher, and then he'll just flourish in that offense. So I think Matt Hennessy is the easy pick.
I mean, again, I agree with you there. Build up your offense before you insert that rusher. I mean, the Cowboys did that with Ezekiel Elliott. I'm not even going to talk about his contract because I'm a firm believer in not paying a running back. But I mean, this team that we're talking about right now is a clear evidence as to why you don't pay a running back. I mean, especially one with knee problems. So
Exactly.
yeah, no, I like Hennessy. Slide seamlessly into that interior offensive line. Big need of them last year. Jared Goff needs protection. Add a guy like Hennessy here. I think it's a great pick. So lock him in. Eagles left on the clock here.
I'm gonna go back to the receiver room here. As much as they need a linebacker, if Chenault's here, I'd think they would take him. I think that the risk reward of a pick 53 of getting a wide receiver one on your team is worth it. I think that they have had such a good free agency and they have a good team in general. They're where they can take this risk. They're not going to go corner, I don't think. I think they're set enough there. I just don't see a linebacker that's worth this pick.
I mean, I have one that I personally like. Keem Davis Gaither out of Appalachian State. He's just a fluid athlete, great player, improved over his college career. He's personally my linebacker four. I have him valued as about a mid to late second round type of player, but again, if you want to go Chenault here, I firmly believe again the Eagles.
I just think it would happen at this point. I don't think they would let him fall.
Yeah, I like it. Let's just make the pick there. I mean, now we got the Bills back on the clock. I mean, pretty solid team all around. I mean, they don't have too many glaring weaknesses. Personally, here, if I'm looking at this board, I'm looking at a guy like Curtis Weaver. If he's left on the board here, I mean, they need extra edge help. I think he would be the pick. Personally, before that Diggs trade, obviously it would have been a receiver, but they got Stephon Diggs.
Yeah, I think it's got to be an edge, best available edge, or maybe Dobbins, because they were in the rumors for Melvin Gordon, but I
That's
think
true.
Weaver. You said they lost whatever the defensive end's name
Yeah.
was, Shaq Lawson.
Yeah.
So I think it'd be a good replacement. Obviously, I don't think he's as good, but I think it'd be a good replacement.
Yeah, I agree. And going back to Dobbins, the reason why I wouldn't see him here is simply because Singletary is more of a change of pace kind of back. If they would take a running back, it'd be more of like a physical kind of workhorse.
Yeah.
Like they might take a guy like AJ Dillon later in the draft. Like I can
Mm-hmm.
see that being a fit, like an early down thumper that can kind of complement them.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I really like the fit here. Get your edge rusher. I mean, I like Curtis Weaver a lot. Slide him in. Yeah, let's do it. Ravens back on the clock. They haven't picked since Kenneth Murray in the first round. Want to hear your
Hmm.
take on this because this is a team that doesn't have many weaknesses at all.
I think if this is the board, I think it would be Dobbins. I think they would. I think they know their team is good. I mean, like that doesn't take much to know. Inside O line is one of their. It's their second most need, but do they really? Yonda's retiring, but they obviously have replacements, or else it'd be a way bigger need if he they didn't have replacements. I think it would be Dobbins this pick. You can mix him in with Mark Ingram. They just don't believe in Justice Hill. If they really believed in Justice Hill last year, he would have saw more snaps because he was not going to be a workhorse. He was going to be a third down, change of pace guy, and he just did not get the love that he wanted. I think Dobbins would be great to work into the Gus Edwards role that Gus Edwards had last year, and then eventually take over that starting role and be Mark Ingram. That's who I would take here.
Um, I like Dobbins personally. I'm still a firm believer that Justice Hill can still be that change of pace back for them. I just think he's a talented player. Didn't get much burn last year, and they still brought back Gus Edwards on a 1 year deal, who could
Yeah,
still be a
restricted.
complementary piece. To me, here the pick would be it would be wide receiver. Uh, I
Mm-hmm.
mean, Boykin didn't really show much in his rookie year. Marcus Brown is a talented player, but you need somebody opposite him. To me, I'm looking at Michael Pittman right now. I just think he's a super under the radar receiver here. Fits right into what they're doing. Big bodied guy gives Lamar Jackson another weapon to pair with Mark Andrews and Marquise Brown. I think that would be the pick personally. Uh, but again, like Dobbins is a talented player. I mean, we've said it before. This team doesn't have many glaring needs, but personally here, I think they would take Pittman.
Yeah, I think if they're going to go receiver, I think it's going to be just a big receiver, and
Yeah,
I like that Pittman pick. Not Ayuk. They don't need a
another
maybe
small
better.
guy.
They don't need a maybe better Willie Snead. As much as Willie Snead, people don't like him. He actually is a good NFL receiver. There's a reason he keeps getting re-signed. Like he actually produces in what they expect him to. I think Pittman would be huge to just give a more of a comfort in the red zone. Obviously, they don't need to because Lamar Jackson can just take
Yeah.
off from 45 yards out. But I think that it would be a good upgrade here. So yeah, I love that pick here.
Yeah, I like it. Slot them in. I mean, we're back to Miami. I mean, they've had a fantastic draft already. I mean, they filled so many needs.
Mhm.
Uh, Looking at the board here, I mean, there's no real players they absolutely need. But personally, here, I think a guy like Ayuk could be a good complement to what they have on the outside with Preston Williams and Devontae Parker. Get your slot receiver. Give We would have Tua as our quarterback here. Give Tua another weapon inside to really use. To me, Ayuk would be the pick here, but I mean, I want to hear what you got to say.
Yeah, I think that it'd be kind of best available whoever they want at this point with the draft we've given them. Inside O line, I think is off the board here. There's no one that really I think would just slide in to upgrade what they already have. Preston Williams will be coming back, probably not at the start of the year. Devontae Parker's there. He'll play the outside. Williams experimented a little in the slot, but I think preferably he's an outside receiver. I do like the IU play here. Um, like you said, a slot receiver that I think would be very beneficial to more in the long term than in the short term. I think if you could lock down Preston Williams, Devontae Parker, and Ayuk once this team gets developed, I think that'd be huge for sure.
Yeah, I agree with that. Good fit here. Now we're back on the Texans. I mean, we gave them receiver first pick. We gave them who did we give them? Let me just double check.
T Higgins.
T Higgins. That's it. Yeah, yeah. I was thinking about him and
So
Chenault, but Chenault just went it. Hit
when it
the Eagles pick.
this is
So
tough because I, Dobbins is there. They also got David Johnson. I don't think they're going to address that here. I think they would go to best interior defensive line, but that's tough for me because I don't know if that's Davis or Matabuke. I think it's Matabuke to me,
yeah, I agree.
just because I think he would. I think he would give him the largest range of ceiling. Obviously, there's definitely a bust potential, but I think there's a higher ceiling with him. And they I don't know this it just I feel like it's a better pick, more not safer, but I mean, let's be fair. Bill O'Brien has nothing to worry about. He's like half of the GM of the team. He doesn't need to like make safe picks to make his
Keep his
job
job.
better. He just traded away the best receiver, one of the best receivers in the league for David Johnson. I think Matabuke is another risky pick that could easily pay off, and I think he's going to be a solid interior defensive lineman.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, Matabuke again is one of my guys. I really like him. I think he's in that tier two again. guys like Gallimore, with guys like Blacklock, of this defensive line class. I mean, I'm not a big Davis fan myself, and I think personally the two best interior defensive linemen are Madubuike and Davidson. But yeah, Madubuike would step right in, add another element to that pass rush. So I like it. Um, Now we're back on the Vikings here. We gave them tackle and safety in the first round. I mean, to me, it's clearly corner. Again, it
Yeah,
has to be a corner. It,
Trayvon Diggs, I think for
I, w-
sure.
I, w- I don't think they would take Trayvon Diggs simply because they just traded his brother.
Oh, really? I didn't
Uh,
even know they're brothers.
oh, Stefan.
Wow. Okay. So you going down to
uh,
like
I'm going
Jalen Johnson
Dantzler.
and Cam Dantzler? Yeah, I think Cam Dantzler. I know we've talked about it like off recording, but I think the 40 time is going to knock him down.
Yeah,
And you got to remember he's the only one that shut down Jamar Chase last year.
I was just about to say that. I mean, 464 does not run step by step with Jamar Chase. With Jamar
Yeah,
Chase, sorry.
yeah, that's not.
Like,
I like Trayvon Diggs. I think he'll be a safe pick, but if they really are trying to redo their cornerback room, especially if he's his brother, I don't know why I didn't know that. I didn't know they're brothers. Cam
yeah,
Dancer, I think, is a solid pick. I think he's a lot better than Jalen Johnson.
I agree with that. Now I'm looking at the Seahawks here again. You look at interior offensive line. You look at tackle. I mean, it says it right here, obviously, but like, I mean, that's been Seattle's need for the past I don't know how long. Uh, but it's tough to mock him here because I could definitely see them pulling the trigger on a Clyde Edwards-Helaire here.
Yeah, I think that if this was the board, though, I don't think they'd make the pick because look at they pick right back down at 64. And if you look at the four teams behind them, those four teams are not going to take three running backs. If
That's
that kind
true.
of makes sense to you.
Yeah, that definitely makes sense.
I think they would. I don't know why the receiver is a need here. Like I don't get that. They've never had two like they've barely ever had two receivers on their team. Now people are trying to add three receivers to their team. I just don't see that at
I
all.
don't see it either. They have Metcalf and Lockett, and
We get
they're a run heavy team.
yeah, we gave them an edge player. I could
We
easily
could,
see that being another pick.
we could. I like Ben Barge. I mean,
Yeah,
I don't know who to take
out
here.
of the ones listed, I think Ben Bark is the best. It's tough because they don't necessarily need O line. Their team's good. That's why like
Yeah.
O line is like their second and third that they don't necessarily need. I think it's a safe pick though. He could definitely start half the games of the year and then eventually become the starter. I think it's a safe pick.
Yeah, I like that. I mean, again, Ben Barch in this list is listed under guys like Isaiah Wilson, Sadiq Charles, and Prince Tega Winogo. But to me, he'd be the next best tackle. So sliding him in here, end of the second round to Seattle, I feel like it's a good pick. So let's slide him in there. Now we're back on the Ravens, who again another team that doesn't have too many needs. To me here, though, I'm looking at a guy like Julian Aquara and Marlon Davidson, and just confused as to how they're still on the board. I mean, we're doing the mock draft, so it's our fault. But yeah, no,
There's so
they're
many players though. It's
yeah,
tough.
it's crazy. I'm just looking at those Aquara and Davidson specifically as two guys that just incredible values at
Yeah,
60.
I like I like Aquara in this pick. I think that they are just going to keep building that front seven because that's what led them to 13-3 last year. Their secondary is amazing. They don't really need to make any
Yeah.
adjustments there.
I mean, they got Humphrey, they got Marcus Peters, they got Earl Thomas.
It's
Like,
it's solid. I could see them going maybe a safety
pair.
just to move him into the rotation a little bit, but I don't think a guy like Duggar or Chin is really what they're looking for. I think Aquara is a good pick here.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, Aquara would add another pass rush element to them. So now we're back on the Titans. I mean,
This is your Marlon Davidson pick right here. I
yeah,
think. I think it's
I was about to say
keep
that.
building that D line. It's what's got him there in the first place. So just keep building upon that.
I mean, they just traded away Jarrell Casey too. He could
Heck,
step in right
yeah,
away, be that hybrid 3-4 edge for them, or not edge, but 3-4 end interior rusher for them. Could definitely play the Casey role. I like Marlon Davidson a ton. Value here at 61. I mean, I agree with you there. Now we're looking at the Packers here. I mean, just another weird pick. I mean, I'm looking at Trayvon Diggs being on the board, which would kind of be like a slap in the face of the Vikings. You know, oh, you just traded his brother. Let me draft the little brother. Uh, I mean, secondary has been a need for Green Bay the past I don't know how long. I mean, they have guys like Josh Jackson. Who's that other big tall corner that's just
Uh,
Kevin King. Like he's just
yeah, from
garbage.
Washington.
He's just
Yeah, he's not very good.
trash.
Sure.
I mean, they got Jair Alexander. Now you get a guy like Trayvon Diggs to pair next to him. I mean, I think that's a good fit for them. But I want to hear
Yeah,
your
I
thoughts.
agree. I think that's the route to go here. I don't think they're going to take a tight end as much as people want in the first 2 rounds. They don't use tight ends. Tight ends suck when they go to Green Bay. I think Trayvon Diggs is the move here.
All right, let's do it. Trayvon Diggs. And I'm looking at the Chiefs here. I mean, we haven't given them a cornerback yet. Uh, a bunch just went off the board. I mean, if I'm looking at the corners here, I'm looking
I,
at Arnett or Hall.
yeah, I think we've talked about how he fits into the Chiefs. I think that's the pick they go here. He
Which
just
one?
seems like Arnett.
Arnett. Okay.
I think he just would just slide in and be that like under the radar, low end guy that's just very consistent. It just would just be a good long term corner to build upon there. Yeah, I think that's the pick for me. I don't think Jalen Johnson. I feel like is kind of limited into his range of ceiling and floor. So
Yeah,
I
I agree.
think Damon Arnett's the move here.
I agree with that. I mean, they could be looking at a running back here, but with such a glaring hole at corner and a guy like Arnett still on the board, I don't think they pass him. So I
Mhm.
I agree with that analysis. I mean, we're not doing a three round mock, but in this scenario, I'm sure they take a guy like Akers in the third round. That would be
Yeah.
instant fantasy.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine if Akers went there. Like
Dude,
he
I don't know. I don't know if Akers is going to get out of round 2, which obviously we didn't pick him, but it's just the way it rolls sometimes.
Yeah, the reason why I'm saying Akers is in round 3 is to me, I think the Seahawks go running back. I mentioned his name earlier, but I think Hilaire is the best fit out of the guys left simply because I view Carson as an interior between the tackles runner, while Penny doesn't even really bring. I don't know about Penny. I don't think he's going to end up being a factor in general in the long term,
No,
even though they took him in the first round.
they're saying Penny's probably not going to be ready to go week 1. That could easily lead to a trade,
Yeah.
maybe even a cut if they just don't want to pay him his rookie contract. I think it's got to be running back at this pick. I don't know if they would go Alaire over Dobbins.
The reason why I
Um,
view Hilaire is because he's such a natural pass catcher. And
yeah,
once Carson comes back, you still have him to be able to play on third downs. I mean, I don't know about you, but to me, uh, he's the best pure receiving back out of this entire class. So I feel like the Seahawks may view it as we're getting a tandem back to pair with Carson, like kind of what we were intending to do with Penny, except obviously Penny, the knee. But yeah, Hilaire's just got the most natural skill set to pair with
yeah.
Carson for me.
I'd say take your pick at running back here and go with Hilaire. They're definitely going to come out of this draft with one in the first 2 rounds. I think.
Yeah, I agree. So I mean, you could see the notion here, but that'll wrap up the second round. Picks 1 to 16 were in part 1, 17 to 32, part 2, and then whole second round we just banged out in part 3. So hope you guys enjoyed. Like and subscribe. I mean, check Lukas out. You want to shout yourself out? I mean, I say this
Yeah, I
every
mean, my
time, but
Twitter will be around here somewhere. I'm sure my channel will be in the description.
for
Like
sure.
we said in the last 2, big things coming with us. Stay tuned. Keep up with us on Twitter. We love to have the interaction. Maybe your thoughts on the mock. Maybe why you're going to yell at us that we didn't
Yeah,
take J.K. Dobbins or a couple other
yeah,
guys in the first 2 rounds.
yeah. Just flame us in the comments. I mean,
Yeah, go for it.
I got fast fingers. I'm ready to respond to every one of them.
But
So
yeah,
go
thanks
for
for
it.
watching, guys, and we'll catch you in the next video.
Peace.